Hey, what's up guys? What's going on? Miguel here, FBA bro, and in this video I'm going to be talking about when a book is too damaged. We get this question a lot all the time, so we just want to break it down for you guys. And it's pretty simple. I broke it down to 3 slides. Pretty much is why it matters, how to determine a damaged book, and also repair options in case you want to save the book that you think can be saved. And also, side note, I did want to mention that we do have a Facebook group called the FBAbros Entrepreneur Mastermind Group. So go ahead and check that out. In there, we discuss about book selling and private label and also other entrepreneur-related things. And we also got an Instagram, so check us out as well. Information is on the corner on the left-hand side. And moving on to why it matters. So it's important that you're not sending damaged books, and the reason is assigning the correct condition to each item you list on Amazon.com is the first step toward providing a great customer experience. It's important to make a careful assessment of the item you're specifying its condition before specifying its condition. So you want to make sure you're not sending in pretty much anything that's not on the Amazon guidelines. And we're going to go over pretty much what that is when the book is too damaged. But it's important that you're not sending in damaged books because you do have a higher likelihood of receiving negative feedback. And if you get too many of those, Amazon's going to notice it and they could suspend you or potentially ban you. So it's really important that you're not sending in crappy books to customers. And onto this slide, we're basically going to talk about how to determine if the book is too damaged. So everybody's going to have their own kind of opinion on this, but just an overall general damaged book is going to have it's going to include missing pages and obscured or unreadable text. So as you see there, I provided a few images with books, like for example on the bottom image there's a book just completely highlighted, and sometimes when you're out there in the field, you're going to find, especially like college books or just academic type books, you're going to find that there's a lot of writing in them, and a lot of the times they're highlighted. And if it's lightly highlighted and every other page has highlighting, that's a fine. I would just list it as acceptable. But if it does have like almost every single text on the page for the next 50 pages highlighted, then at that point it kind of gets a little too much, and I would not send that book in. Also, there's another image right there on the corner with a bunch of writing on there as well. If there's multiple pages, like 10 of them, 15 pages that are filled like that, I would not send that in as well, because when the customer gets it, it might, all that writing on there added by the prior user, it can be distracting to the new person who's going to own this book. So that can be a giant no-no. So that's technically a damaged book. It's no good. And also water damage. Pretty much if water is fallen onto it or someone spilled coffee on a book and it dries up, the book's pages usually get really crinkled up. Sometimes they'll even stick together and you might not notice it. So you definitely want to check for water damage. And also with water damage, sometimes mold does occur inside a book, and you don't want to have mold in a book, especially if it's going to be sent to someone's house. And then they're gonna have mold in their house, and especially if they're allergic to mold, then that's all bad. So you don't want to send in water damaged books or moldy books. That's a giant no-no as well. And also damaged corners. So it's okay if the corners are dinged up a bit, if there's like a little, if they're messed up a bit. But if they're like really messed up, or like it looks like a dog just chewed the corner of the book, you don't want to send that in because it just doesn't look appealing. And when the customer receives that, they're going to be a little upset because the corner is like completely destroyed or damaged. Also, loose binding, that's a giant one too. Sometimes when we're out in the field, we're just going scanning books, and you're just throwing them in there because you want to move on to the next book. You want to scan more books. But you want to make sure that the books don't have loose binding. There's been a few instances where we found books, like textbooks, and we open them up when we're grading them, or putting the condition notes on Amazon, and it turns out that the binding is messed up, loose. So it's a little too damaged to send. It is possible to repair, and we'll go over that on the next slide. But you don't want to send in books that have like really messed up binding or are bent or just shaped abnormally. Also, odor. You don't want to send in books that smell. We've had that a couple times. We never sent books that smelled, but we have gotten like bulks of books at times, and we didn't realize that there was one book out of that whole bulk that apparently smelled, and it smelled really bad. So you don't want to send that in, even if the profits are good. Again, because you want to protect your seller account. You want to make sure that you have a healthy account and that you continue selling and making more money on Amazon. And last one would be just a dirty book. You don't want to send in a book that maybe has just nasty stuff on it, like food stains, or like, I don't know, someone sneezed on it and there might be some like dry mucus on there. You don't want to send those kind of books out either. Again, because this is going to a customer, so you don't want to send that over there. So that pretty much all this. If you follow these general guidelines, the book it's damaged, and if it's good, then it's good. But yeah, you just want to go by this pretty much. And on this slide, I'm just going to go over repair options. So some of these books can be saved. Sometimes there's not too much damage to them. All they need to do is, you just got to make them look a little prettier, clean them up, and they're ready to go. And you can send them out there and sell that book and make some money. The first one would be erase markings, or excuse me, you can erase the markings. Sometimes you get books that are not necessarily highlighted or written with ink. Sometimes it's just a student went over with a pencil or solved some math problems or equations on there with a pencil. You can simply just buy an eraser and just erase the markings. Depending on how long it's going to take you, it's all up to you on how much time you're willing to invest on a book and erase it. But I would, if there are some, for example, pricing on the book, some places like to price their books inside the cover. I would erase the price. And also if there's just other little stuff, just to make the book a little sharper and crisp, you could always erase the markings. And also, you can repair loose bindings with book glue. So that was a giant thing that we discovered. Again, we would sometimes find books that had messed up binding, but the book was like $60 profit, $80 profit, or like $100 profit, and we just couldn't let that go. So, and a lot of times it's just the loose binding. So what you can do is you can order, or you can use book glue, and we got ours from Amazon. There's plenty of different options out there, but just get one that has good rating, and pretty much you just put glue on the binding part, and you make sure that it's sealed and it's really well composed. So when it gets shipped out and the customer gets it, they won't notice anything. It's just the book has been restored pretty much back to its normal conditions. So that's another way is to repair it with book glue. And also some books, for example, hardcover books, they'll sometimes be a little dirty. The type of material that they use to cover the book is kind of like a laminated type material, so that actually can be cleaned and wiped off. You can use like an multi-purpose cleaner and a rag and just clean it up. Sometimes it gets dusty, some books get like black stains on them, but you can easily clean that up and the book will look brand spanking new. Sometimes you can turn books that look like they're in acceptable condition and you can bring them up to a good or to a very good. So that's another thing you can do. And also you can tape slightly ripped pages. So sometimes corners of books or pages, sometimes they're ripped or they're just tearing. And if you don't put tape on them, sometimes they'll rip even more, especially when they get received at the fulfillment center and you got people, Amazon employees working in there, and they just grab the books, and sometimes they might grab a slightly ripped page that's sticking out, and it can just make the book in a worse condition. So you definitely want to tape ripped pages, and I don't mean by like if there's a complete page, you don't want to do a bunch of taping. Just clean, neat tapes on the corners, just to make sure that the book doesn't get more destroyed in the process of it, being shipped out to the Amazon warehouse and to the customer. So yeah, we'll actually make a video on how to repair books, but this is just pretty much what you can do to repair these damaged books. And that's pretty much it, guys. If you have any questions, please comment below. If you liked this video and you found it helpful, just give it a like. And if you like the type of presentations we're making and the type of content we're making, please subscribe. We're going to be uploading consistently. And we also got a private label case study going on as well, how we're trying to grow our basically a bunch of private labels and have about 10K a month profit from them. So go ahead and check that out as well. And that's it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. And FBA Bro Miguel checking out.